Shortwave, take it down, quick. What's it say? Ah, shut up.
Hello, patrol members, and welcome to the adventures of the Mojave Patrols Ran When Parked. Hey, patrol members. This is going to be a little different because what I'm mainly doing here is going to talk about our rental. We're pulling up in front of the very first Del Taco right here. Very first Del Taco. I'm explaining to you all about it. Anyway, we rented a 2026 Chevy Blazer. So we rented this Chevy Blazer, which was white, just like you see in the picture here. And I want to tell you the good things and the bad things about it. And I'm going to start out with the good things. Now, when Mrs. Patrol and I decided to go on this cross-country trip with the grandkids, we wanted to get a car we were familiar with and comfortable with, so we asked them for a Nissan Rogue. They told me that one was not available, so we were going to have to get a different car, which turned out to be the 2026 Blazer. So they had one on the lot, and we went outside and took a look at it, and it looked fine. It looked fine. It looked like a perfectly adequate vehicle. It appeared to have enough room, so we decided, okay, that's the one we're going to take. So I will admit, I thought it was a relatively handsome car. It looked fine inside and out. It looked like it had plenty of room inside. The interior looked quite nice. Plenty of room in the back seat for the kids. It looked like it had all kinds of room in the back for our luggage and everything else. And we drove it around for a little bit, and we thought it handled reasonably well. Now, the interior was quite comfortable. You could see out of it really well. But when it came time to leave, it was a little bit of a challenge putting all the suitcases and the stuff we wanted to bring with us in the back of the car, though we finally did manage it. Now, it did not appear to have as much power as I thought it should. We apparently got the 4-cylinder and not the 6-cylinder, though I am still not sure. It didn't have as much get up and go as Mrs. Patrol's Volkswagen. And it did get exceptional mileage. I know it says it gets around 22 to 29, but according to the computer in the little infotainment center, we were getting close to 35 miles to the gallon, which at the price of fuel these days was adequate. The other thing that seemed weird to me was that when you're getting on the freeway, now Marlene had punched it to get on the freeway once because we were trying to get ahead of traffic. And when it was from second to third, the tach was way up in the redliner, almost 7,000 RPM, which I thought was a little high to be shifting into third gear. But hey, I'd never driven one of these before, so I didn't know what was normal. Now, just below the shifter is a knob, and when you turn the knob, it's supposed to go from highway to snow to performance. No matter what position I put that knob in and drove it, I did not see a single bit of performance change. Now, maybe I wasn't in the correct environment. I did drive it on the highway. There was no snow. I put in performance and tried to drive quickly and things like that. And it really didn't seem to make a difference, unless that, of course, is only traction control. We tried to look it up in the owner's manual, but the incredible Byzantine way that the owner's manual was put together, looking under traction control, looking under performance settings, they didn't even address that knob. I'm sure it was in there, but I didn't feel like bringing it into the hotel room and sipping under a reading light with a hot cup of coffee to pour over it until I came across some reference to it. The other thing we really didn't like about it was the AC control. Now, it was obvious where the heated seat switch was. We didn't have cooled seats. We only had heated seats in this model. But when it came to adjusting the temperature at the vents, it wasn't really clear to this patrol how to do that. I had to show her that by rotating the silver bezel around the outside of the vent, that would adjust your the control of the airflow that you would get. And then the first thing that happened is that the vent on my side of the car had jammed and you couldn't change the position of it. So I had to stick a finger in each one of the little ports, and as hard as I possibly could, I went to rotate it, and there was a loud snap, and it finally came free, and I could adjust it after that. The other thing that kind of drove us crazy was the 10.2-inch infotainment center with the wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The Apple CarPlay wanted to connect with everything but Marlene's iPhone. It wanted to connect with Ella's tablet. It wanted to connect with Bridget's earphones. It wanted to connect several times. It would switch and want to connect with my phone. And the only time that we could well and truly make it work with Marlene's phone was to plug it directly in with a C-to-C cable from her phone into the infotainment center. The other thing that was annoying as heck was the way it operated. You had to log into it and download an app to use it, which we were loath to do because it's not our car. But we did it, and if you wanted to use the map feature, you would hit the map feature, a Google map would show up, you would type in your destination, and it would go there. The problem you ran into was that along the bottom of the map feature were all these little icons for hotels and gas stations and restaurants and other sundry places. So while we were driving, we started to get hungry. Marlene hits the restaurant icon, and all these restaurants showed up. And then a page opened up on the left-hand side of the infotainment center telling you where they all were. Well, she didn't like the choices. So to get back to the map, you push the back button at the very top left-hand of the screen, which took you completely out of the map. And you had to go to the home page, go to the apps. A little warning would come up telling you that the car is moving. And if you're a passenger, you accept the responsibility of operating the app feature while the car is moving. Then you would go back to maps. and then the place you wanted to go was missing. So when you went to recent places, it told you had to download yet another app. So you had to load in the address of where you were going all over again. And after 2 or 3 times of doing that, we would just use the map on the phone. So it wasn't really that user friendly. The other problem we had with it was in the middle of the trip, we were using my phone to listen to an audiobook, and I paused it. We got gas, got back in the car, and then when we went to listen to the audiobook, there was no volume. So now we're on the freeway driving. The owner's manual was completely no help for this respect at all. Marlene looked it up online and found that you had to stop the car, turn off the infotainment center, shut off the car, open the driver's door for 15 seconds, close it, and then restart the infotainment center. And that actually worked. But convenient? No. The other issue we had was that Marlene could not get the hang of the cruise control. It just was not intuitive to her. She was constantly struggling with making it work, and when she was driving, she never used it. Also, the thing that told you your lane changing guidance, whatever that thing was, even though it was on, it didn't seem to work. You could change lanes with alacrity. There was no buzzer or alarm. It didn't try to keep you in the lane like the Nissan Rogue did. And the other device that was supposed to apparently slow you down or stop you if you got too close to the car in front of you didn't do anything until you were within a foot or so of the car in front of you. Then an alarm would go off. But it never did try to stop the car or slow the car down for you. It never did any of those things. And last but not least, not the least by any stretch of the imagination, was the ride. With 2 adults, 2 children, and 2 suitcases, there were a dozen times at least that you would hit a dip in the freeway and the rear suspension would bottom out against the frame with an audible thump. It hit hard, right? And we were not speeding by any stretch of the imagination. Most of the time, we were doing between 65 and 70. And on roads where there was construction or roads that had been, the thing would bottom out quite often. So you looked up ahead and anticipated when you were going to come up to a dip in the freeway or a pothole, and you would slow down to like 50 and then it would be okay. So that became problematic at night. Also, any roads that had grooves cut into them for rain drainage, it was exceedingly noisy in the car where you had to raise your voice to be heard. That was very uncomfortable. Yeah. So as a whole, it got good gas mileage. It was reasonably comfortable to sit in. It was easy to drive. But I found that a lot of the accoutrements didn't work or were problematic. The infotainment center was not intuitive to use, and the ride was atrocious. So for $34,000, I think the car is overpriced for what you get. Anyway, I want to thank you for joining me. I know this sounds like an anti-Chevy rant, and it really isn't. We really wanted to like the car, but we didn't. And I'm sorry about that. So, like and subscribe. Leave a message or a comment. If you have a Blazer and you have a completely different experience, let me know. Maybe we got a lemon, but it only had 8,000 miles on it when we got it. So, until next time, later, mater.